Hello everyone. First of all, thanks for agreeing to test our beta API. This is just going to be a video tutorial series, just taking you through the new API. Now the main thing we want to get out of the beta testing round one is for any feedback, anything that you think we could add at this stage would be really good for us. So if you can just go ahead, test, find something, anything that works for your setup, please let us know and we can look into integrating it at this stage. But I just want to show you how to get started and get up and running with the new API. So first of all, I'm just going to register. So you just have to click API register. Now here we're just going to ask you to fill in some details. So this is separate from the S3 Bubble login. The API is completely separate. It's a different service. But I'm just going to go ahead and fill in these details and then check back to this video. Okay, so as you can see, I have signed up for the API. Now the first thing you're greeted with when you sign up for the API is a screen here. Okay, now one thing is you have your API user. Okay, it will just show your public key and email, and then we have our API keys here, and this is where we can create keys that will allow access to our API. Okay, so let's first of all go ahead and create a key. You can restrict it to an IP address, you can give it all access, or we can just give access to specific controllers. We're going to give all access. Okay, so once you've given all access, then what you can do is then we can start to use this key. So we can take copy to clipboard, and then we could just head over to Postman. We could go over to authorization, API key, paste in our key, and then what we can do is then we can use one of the URLs. So just to show you how to get to one of the URLs, we can go to the API, then if you click documentation, then this will take you to the API of all the calls that you can run. So let's just take a look at players. So we could run this call here to get our players. Okay, let's go and take a look and send. Okay, so as you can see, it's returning from our API. It's got one page and it's got no results. So let's go back and let's just add a player quickly. So if we go to API players, let's just create a new player and we'll just call it John Wick trailer is trailer. Okay, so we can just keep it basic and just put in the required values for the time being. You have the ability to select content types, and we're going to go through loads of other setups in this series where you can create Roku feeds for the Roku channels directly via the dashboard and for MRSS as well. So everything's going to be done through the new API. Okay, so if we run this now, you can see we've got our new player. Go back to Postman. Okay, so we've got our new player here, and we're starting to get it set up. Okay, so one thing that we could look into doing is, let's say we wanted to go to our dashboard. We've got a new thing called image groups. So these are groups you can set up. You can create custom image groups and group defaults. I'll just say use group defaults to get started. It just gives you some default sizes that we're going to be using across board. Okay, but you can come in and add custom sizes. And we're also going to be using Roku defaults, which just gives us some custom taxonomies that we can go in and take a look at. Now this is completely adaptable, so you can build any type of application with this, whether it's an NBA app, a Netflix app, on demand, live streaming. It's completely flexible. So if we can create defaults. Okay, so we've just got some defaults here. So if we just went and looked at feeds, for instance, just for this example, this tutorial, obviously I'm showing you all my URLs, don't worry about that. If I open this feed, you can see that we've already to start to generate our feed for Roku, so we can just expand on this. Okay, so let's head back to our dashboard, and I just want to show you how we can actually integrate this in with S3 Bubble. So we could go to storage, and I'm just going to go to a similar process that we'd normally run with S3 Bubble, and I've generated some subtitles via the AWS transcribe. So what I'm going to do is just go into the angel has fallen, and let's just go to media convert. Let's just convert this, and let's just add some captions. Okay, and we can just you can actually just grab the URL directly from the S3 Bubble list, but you can also use this as well. And then what you can do is we can also add audio subs. If we add audio subs, and we're doing something very powerful here, we're actually embedding all this in the HLS stream. So you can do this with server-side ad insertions as well. There's lots we can do with S3 Bubble. Okay, and I'm just going to burn in a new audio track. We're going to output it to our delivery bucket. If you want to know about our workflow, please watch the video on our homepage. Use a random ID. Okay, and template we're going to be encoding to HLS. And here are some of the options for the new streaming API. Okay, so you can see we've created our new player. So you create your new player first, and for reference we could just put in Roku. Reference is just a way to reference your media. Now it's very powerful and it will come into play at a later stage. You can have one for Roku, one for MRSS, one for like default, lots of different setups, because the problem with media streaming nowadays is you need lots of different protocols and streaming just to be able to get to as many platforms as possible. So I'm just going to create this job here. Okay, so you can see the job is created, and let's head back over. Okay, so you can see we've started to add our player URLs. Now what we can do here is if we wanted to add in our genres, then we can go back to our player. Okay, and we can start to attach this to genres. And I doubt you'd have it more than one, but just to show you that you can. And then we could add tags. We can also add persons. To add persons, we could simply come in here and go persons, add a new person. And then you can obviously come in and add the correct information. Okay, so we've got our persons. Let's go back to the player. And on the persons, and we can associate this person with the player. Okay, and we can take a look. So we've got our genres, our tags, we've also got our rating that we can change, and we've got our Will Smith person added to it. Now to add thumbnails and images is something that you can do directly through the player. Now you add media via image groups. Obviously we've added our default image groups, but you can add anything for your custom setup. So the main purpose of this is to make the API as flexible as possible. And then you just select which bucket. We suggest just using the same bucket for your images. Okay, and for reference key, we'll just use landscape. Okay, and as soon as you've done that, you can just drag your image into the file, into the uploader, sorry. Okay, so we've got new images here. You can click to open these images just to see them in the browser. And then we've got a thumbnail. So you can see our thumbnails updated. So we're building a Roku feed here now where you can simply take the URL and paste it into the Roku developer channel, and you can just completely manage your Roku channel directly through S3 Bubble. One thing I wanted to show you, so we can just go duration, and you can add the duration in seconds. 1, 2, 3. And obviously all these other options. So this is where if you see any options that you feel would be valuable to you, let us know at this stage. So we're adding duration, we can add captions, everything, all the good stuff needed for media streaming. We're just doing a very random example homepage. Okay, and it's just kind of going to show you the layout of what you can do with playlists, genres, etc. Okay, and you can come and edit your movie, click play. And as you can see, this movie's not going to play yet because our CloudFront our cloud distribution, sorry, our media convert job is still running. So as soon as this is complete, then we'll be able to view our media. But that shows you can go through all our API calls here and what you can and can't add. And then you've obviously got your feed generated here, and then everything is powered through the API. So if I run refresh now, okay, so you can see everything's been updated through the API. And we have all the data needed to build any type of powerful media streaming application. So please play around with the API, use it, give us any feedback at this stage. We'd be really pleased with it, and and then we can look into implement it into the production version of the API. Thanks.